We live in a world where everyone is searching for answers. Whether it's in politics, society, or the hidden truths behind what we see, we want a better world, but we often feel divided, overwhelmed, and unsure about where to start. What if the real revolution, the real change we're all seeking, begins within each of us? No matter who you are or what you believe, the power to change the world starts when we first change ourselves, our thoughts, our actions, and our choices. Because when we rise above the noise and focus on our own growth, we pave the way for a better future for everyone. Hey everyone, welcome to Frank Analysis. I am your host Franco, and we are discussing how we cannot change the world until we change ourselves. If you are serious about making the world better, then make sure to stick around for the end of the video where I will tell you a simple yet powerful exercise that you can do to transform yourself, transform your life, and in turn make a real impact on the world around you. Think about what led you to this video. Were you someone who was looking for solutions? Were you someone who wanted to understand the problems happening in the world more deeply? Do you often come across a lot of videos on politics? At the end of the day, you are someone who wants to change the world for the better, and this makes you a good person with a good heart and good intentions. However, what you need to understand is that all this stress about elections, global politics, poverty,
God, can we talk about the political and economic state of the world right now?
you will not be able to do anything to fix that if you do not take care of yourself first, so that you have a clear mind and allow yourself to find efficient solutions. There are three very common mistakes I've noticed people make when trying to change the world, and we will go over each of them in this video. The first mistake is relying on a savior to fix everything. Many people fall into the trap of believing that a single leader, movement, or external force will come along and solve all the world's problems. Whether it's a politician, a celebrity, or an influential figure, we place our hopes on them to be the solution. But the truth is, no one person can create the change we need on their own. When we put all our faith in a savior, we often neglect our own power and responsibility to contribute to the change we want to see. Real transformation happens when individuals take action in their own lives, rather than waiting for someone else to lead the way. You may have experienced a disappointment in someone who did not live up to your expectations as a savior. I definitely have gone through this multiple times in my adult life, especially in politics, and I have witnessed it with other people. I still see it to this day. People moving from one savior to another savior, they're just shifting energy. One savior disappoints them, and then they shift over to someone else thinking that they're going to solve all the world's problems. And sometimes it's not a single person that they see as a savior. Sometimes it's a group, an organization. You need to make sure that you are aware of yourself to notice if you are doing this mistake right now. If you are unsure about whether or not you're making this mistake, ask yourself these questions. Am I waiting for someone to solve the problems I see? Or am I taking steps to address them myself? Do I believe that things will only get better if a specific person or group takes action? Or do I see myself as part of the solution? How often do I focus on what others should do versus what I can do right now to make a difference? The second mistake I see people do is trying to change others before changing themselves. Many people focus on fixing others or pointing out flaws that they see in society or in other people. It's so easy to do that. However, real change is going to start with self-awareness and self-improvement. You need to first address your own behaviors, your own attitudes and beliefs, and see whether what you're doing is wrong. When we work on ourselves, we set an example and create a ripple effect that can inspire others to change as well. This often ties into the psychological concept of the shadow self, which was popularized by the Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. The shadow self represents the parts of ourselves that we may deny, repress, or reject, qualities we don't like to acknowledge, such as fears, insecurities, or undesirable traits. Sometimes a shadow self may present itself in someone else as a way you used to behave. For example, when you were a child, you probably used to lie a lot. And that in your adult life may have impacted you to really, really dislike liars. Jung believed that recognizing and integrating these aspects of ourselves is crucial for personal growth and self-awareness. Carl Jung was a prominent figure in psychology. He developed the idea of the shadow as part of his broader theory of the psyche. According to Jung, our psyche is made up of various parts, including the ego, which is our conscious self, the personal unconscious, which contains repressed experiences, and the collective unconscious, which is the shared human experiences and archetypes. Jung argued that facing and integrating our shadow self is essential for achieving psychological wholeness. Instead of projecting our unresolved issues onto others or trying to change them, Jung suggested that we should turn inward and work on understanding, or better said, understanding and accepting our own hidden aspects. By doing so, we not only improve ourselves, but we also enhance our ability to interact with and understand other people more compassionately. So in practice, before trying to change others, it's important to look inward and address our own issues. Reflect on what aspects of yourself might be influencing your desire to change others and work on those areas. By integrating your shadow and embracing personal growth, you become better equipped to positively impact those around you. This approach encourages self-awareness and personal responsibility, aligning with the idea that meaningful change starts from within. The third mistake I see people make is thinking you know what's best for the world. You could be wrong. That could very much be a possibility. You could have been lied to, and you are attaching to this idea of something that you think will solve all the world's problems, when in reality, it may not actually work out like you think it will. You need to allow yourself to be open to the possibility that you could be wrong. By doing so, this brings you closer to realizing what the real best solution is. History is full of examples where well-intentioned ideas were later found to be flawed. Take the Prohibition era in the United States. It was driven by the belief that banning alcohol would solve social problems, but instead it led to unintended consequences like the rise of organized crime, and then this was eventually repealed. This shows us that even seemingly well thought out solutions can sometimes miss the mark. Ask yourself, are elections a real solution? Whether you think that third parties are actually going to help us or not, could you be wrong about that? Could you be wrong about green energy? Could you be wrong about nuclear energy? Whether you support those or not, there's a possibility that you could be wrong. And in order for you to find out whether those ideas that you have will actually work, you have to be open to the possibility that you could be wrong. Look for alternative sources out there. Inform yourself. Go with whatever has more evidence. Constantly challenge yourself. Your ideas of what the best solutions could be for these different issues could change over time as you come across more and more information. So instead of assuming that we have all the answers, we need to stay open to new information. We have to be open to different viewpoints, engage in dialogue. You have to consider multiple perspectives, and you have to be willing to adapt your views so that we can lead to more effective and inclusive solutions. So thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. So the exercise I want to present to you guys with is called the guided self-reflection exercise. Take a few minutes each day, either in the morning or before bed, to reflect on one specific area of your life that you want to improve. It could be your mindset, habits, relationships, or anything that feels significant to you. Ask yourself these questions. What's one small action I can take today to move closer to the person I want to become? How can I make this change benefit not just myself, but those around me? What's holding me back, and how can I overcome it? Write down your answers and keep track of your progress over the next few weeks. The key is consistency and being honest with yourself. By committing to this simple daily exercise, you'll start to notice subtle shifts, not just in your own life, but in the way you influence and inspire others. Remember, real change begins with small, intentional steps. In addition to that, make sure you're meditating, make sure you're exercising, make sure you're eating healthy and informing yourself and being open to the idea that you could be wrong about your current beliefs. Question all the sources that you come across. Make sure you have a high level of critical thinking and let go of attachments while maintaining healthy principles like loving yourself, loving your neighbor, and treating others the way you want to be treated. For more information on self-improvement, subscribe to this channel for future videos. Thank you very much for watching, and stay informed.